What's up, guys? Colin here, the Wild CEO. This is our new place, and we might be moving out after 2 months of moving in because we've decided we want to move to the country and we want to start or buy or move to a farm. And so today I'm going to talk to you a few reasons why that is and some of what I've thought about in my decision-making process and kind of the thought patterns about why I feel comfortable with that decision, even though I've lived pretty much in a city my entire life. I've never really lived in the country that way. And I've always had aspirations about how it would maybe be, but I've never done it. So obviously it might be an adjustment. It probably will be an adjustment, but I'm gonna list out some of the reasons why I think it's gonna be a good idea. And then obviously I'm gonna take you through the whole process of finding the property, moving to it, and all the amazing things that I have plans to do in that property, and why some of my philosophy about living in life and how I wanna live and how I wanna raise my son and our family, how that also applies to living on a piece of land. Okay, hope you enjoy. I've thought about this a lot, and it's been my whole life in the making, really. You know, I love AC. I love being inside. I love the comfort of my gaming chair, my computer, my standing desk that goes up and down. You know, we're in here in Texas. It's really hot. It's actually September, right in the smack dab of the heat, the hottest time of the year. And so just, going in and out of the car, and we were at Taco Deli earlier, I'm sweating, okay? About to go to the gym, so not a big deal. But, being outside is something that I need to do more, right? I want my family to do more. I want my son to do more, because that is what I believe. I believe humans are designed by nature for nature. And the more we remove ourselves from that natural environment that we are designed for, the worse off we are in every way, psychologically and physically. And so that's obviously a big motivation. But I'm not going to go into all that stuff, really. Like, obviously the benefits from health, from being able to grow our own food, being able to kind of do whatever I want with my property, whether I want to put a shipping container on it, or if I want to build a tiny home, or if I want to have a shooting range, all these things that I'm going to do with the property are obviously bonuses. But the thing that really facilitates the decision, I think, and it's something that maybe you can start thinking about in your life if you're living in the city or whatever, are just the incongruences of city life and the problems with city life and how they don't mesh well with health. But even more importantly than that, because most of us, we like convenience, we like to do things that we like to do, we don't like to drive far. If I enjoyed the things in a city on a regular basis, I probably would be less likely to go live in the country because it would be harder to get to the things I would enjoy, right? But I actually enjoy being home with the family, being outside, building things, doing all the things I'm going to do in this property. I enjoy that way more than the things I might do in the city. So I'm going to list out some of the things about city life that I don't really appreciate or take advantage of. If you followed me at all, a lot of my philosophy around food and nutrition and whatever. Restaurant food is not healthy food, right? Even the places that are buying the best stuff are using shitty seed oils and high heat techniques and all these things to pump out food that is just not as good for you, right? Like, I just had Taco Deli, which is the best tacos in Austin, maybe even in the world, all local ingredients. But I guarantee you they're probably using like a peanut or a safflower oil or some other seed oil that is broken down because of the high heat. They're probably using other ingredients like not great salt, sugar, etc. Right? It tastes amazing, and it's probably one of the cleanest things you can have in Austin, but it's still not as good as it would be if I made it at home and I controlled every aspect of the meal process. So food quality for long-term health and longevity is a huge reason why growing my own food and preparing all my own food and being as far removed from the enticement of restaurants and even the crap at Whole Foods, like a lot of it's not that great. Like, most of the food sucks, the produce sucks, etc. The further I can move myself from that, the less temptation there's going to be. So the more likely I'm going to be eating at home, and the more I'm going to be forced to eat at home, and the more I'm going to want to eat at home because I'm going to have food that I've grown that I don't want to go to waste because I put in effort and time and money, So that's a really big one. Eating food in a city is never going to be as good as eating food outside of the city or by close to nature, even on a farm, etc. But that's not even the thing, really. See, this is going to be very much about me, and so take from it what you will, but I don't enjoy most of the things in city life that people enjoy. I don't care for sporting events. I like concerts. Sure, I'll go to concerts. I don't go to them that often, but I can always drive to one. Those are just like a couple times a year thing, right? I don't go out and drink, like, at all, right? Like I said, the restaurant thing, I like it. I enjoy nice restaurants, and I will always do that as a treat. But again, that's not something I should be doing multiple times a week, right? And that can maybe be a couple times a month thing, and I can drive into the city and do that. I don't like sitting in traffic. I don't like sitting in buildings with a lot of Wi-Fi signals and EMF and all the crap. I mean, now that we're going to put 5G in, that's a whole other thing. A lot of the science around it is very inconclusive about whether it's good or bad. If you look at what EMF actually is and non-ionizing radiation, and you can look at kind of the wavelengths, and the closer they are, the more it's ionized. And so like radioactive waste is the most ionizing and it's the most dangerous for you. But if you get further on to something like a basic light or a fan or then a cell phone, there's a whole spectrum of things. For the most part, a lot of people believe, and there is some interesting evidence that points to it, and a lot of scientists even believe that EMFs, especially in high doses and high frequency, are very, very bad for humans. And they've done studies in rats, and of course humans aren't rats, so there's some things there, but it's something that is a big if. And this technology is so new. I mean, this iPhone in my pocket, which actually I have in airplane mode right now, right? Actually, I don't, and I need to put in airplane mode. This phone they've pushed the bar with this phone. This is the newest iPhone. They've pushed the bar with how much EMF it puts off, and they've gone up to the upper limit of what the FTC or whatever says you're allowed to do, which they consider as safe, right? Now, obviously, the closer I keep this to my head or the further away, when the signal's on, it's going to make a difference. So you always want to distance yourself as much as possible from things. But even like power lines, there's things like dirty electricity, and EMF tends to be worse higher up. So like I sleep in a 2-bedroom room, so that's an issue. I don't want to talk about EMF today, but that's just another consideration. And now with 5G coming in, a lot of people saying it's like, 5G is basically a weapon and all this stuff. And we do it because consumers want faster, more now, better phones, more speed. We're playing with fire in a lot of ways. And I think the long-term repercussions are going to be very telling in the next 20 or 30 years. I don't want to take that risk. Right now, we're doing the science, right? You and me living in high rises or in cities around people with Wi-Fi signals, or like when I go to Starbucks and there's hundreds of Wi-Fi signals around me and EMF and electricity and all these things, and they're all just like attacking my biology, right? Well, there's definitely a problem with that, right? And the way we're doing the science now is in 20, 30 years, if our species starts having, crazy rates of cancer, even more than what we have today, maybe a lot of that will point to EMF and things like 5G and all the technologies and signals that are around us. I don't know. I do know for sure, though, that the risk in city versus out of city are completely different. Smack dab in the middle of a fast-growing city like Austin, they're putting high-rises up left and right. Companies are moving here. Businesses are moving here. People are moving here. Like 125 people a day move to Austin. I love it. I love the growth. It's good for business, right? But it's not so great for humans. It's not so great for all the things I've talked about. It's not great for mental sanity when you're sitting in traffic and you have road rage, or you're stressed waiting in line for things. Like, there's just a lot of issues with being very condensed with other humans from a biological perspective, but also from a property. So that's actually, we're going to go see Property 9630, which I'm excited about. So, where was I? So again, for the risk, like my son is 1. I want him to live a long life. I want him to have kids. And I want him, he's over there making noise. And I want my grandkids and their kids and so on to be able to inherit an earth and to inherit a way of living that is sustainable. The way we're doing things right now, it's not sustainable. Hey, boo-boo, what are you doing? What are you doing? Let me see if we can see him real quick. See him over there? Boo-boo. Boo-boo, what are you doing? So that's my why. He's my why, and family. And I'm willing to give up on some of the comforts of city life for some of the, maybe more difficult things in rural or out of middle of nowhere life. But, it's just one of those things. I actually think my life is going to be better in every single way. I'm going to have a shop. I'm going to be able to build things. I actually have a plan to build a little tiny home village that I can maybe eventually Airbnb them or sell them, like something that I've been interested in for a long time now. And I'll have the ability to do that. I'll have tools and workshop and space. Like back here, my backyard, we have a little bit of space, something I can do with it. There's neighbors all around me, right? And plus we're renting. We don't even own this. So I'm very limited in all the cool shit I want to do, right? Things with my hands. I want to get back to building things and tweaking things with my hands. I've always loved it. Build forts as a kid, like being outside, etc. For me, the biggest thing is I don't enjoy the city. I don't enjoy the things that you do in a city. Like my pastime is not in a city. It's usually on a computer or watching a show, reading, being outside, building things, doing things, right? And that really is the most important thing. Obviously, of course, I work for myself. I can work anywhere and I can live anywhere. But our coffee shop and retail shop is going to be in the city. And I usually go down there twice a week anyways. So I plan to go into the city twice a week, probably, maybe 3 times. And I guarantee you it'll be the same. Like, I won't even notice it. And what it will do is it will actually, the time I'll save from all the commuting here and all the rigmarole and everything, like, that's just going to be another benefit. I'm going to save more time, I'm going to save more money on things. I'm going to have a solar, we're going to try to go off grid completely and have rainwater collection, have solar power, a lot of cool things. I'm really excited about that, right? But it's also just like becoming self-reliant and not having to rely on the grid or the government or anyone else, and being able to grow our own food and survive off the land. Like, that is really enticing to me. So that's another reason why I'm very excited about this. So I hope you guys will follow along, like and subscribe. I'll be documenting this journey more, probably be doing more homesteading stuff, more content around building things, and obviously always from a health perspective. And, it is the Ancestral Mind, which is about how humans are designed, where we come from, and how that applies today and how that affects us today, and why so much of our environment is mismatched to our biology. And so you can learn more about that over at theancestralmind.com, and actually download the free 7 Principles of Living Wild. When you go there, it'll say PDF or free cheat sheet. Click on that, drop your email in. I send about 1 or 2 emails a week, only pure value, never selling anything through the Ancestral Mind. Might reference some products I like here and there, but I highly recommend doing that. I believe that the greatest education for human beings is to understand human biology, and so much of the nutrition and the health and the fitness space is full of just gimmicky, dogmatic bullshit. And really, we just need to ask, like, what are the first principles of being a human, right? Like, how does a human thrive in the wild? And you can see modern day hunter-gatherers or modern day people that live off the wild, and we can find how they live, and we can try to replicate as much of that as possible, make changes in our modern environment that's at odds with our genes, and then do things to live better, right? And that's what the Ancestral Mind's all about. You build your Ancestral Mind so you can think about how you're doing things on a daily basis. And so that obviously coincides with my desire to move to the country, to get closer to nature, to control a piece of land and get out there and get dirty, get out there, right? Be outside more sunlight, nature, animals, etc. So I'm really excited for it. I'm excited for it for my son, and I'm excited for it for myself and for our family. Okay. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.